Jagrative, Jai Masters. Somebody once asked me, a very religious person too, what is spirituality? And the answer is very simple. Spirituality is spirit. It's not anything else. You can read what you want, you can believe what you want, you can do what you want. Spirituality is about spirit. What is spirit? I remember also that somebody once said to me, I understand what Shakti is. It's that little tingle that you feel in your arms. And I said, no, it's this tremendous rush of energy pouring up your spine and coming out your third eye and out the top of your head. That's what Shakti is. Okay, and that's what spirit is. Shakti is just another name for spirit. Chi, again, same thing. You do Tai Chi. You work with the Chi in acupuncture. Let's talk about that for a second. And I never studied this, just a yogi. Acupuncture deals with Chi within the body, running through the meridians, this more subtle aspect of the body. Tai Chi, that kind of stuff, when they work with Chi at that level, is dealing with the astral body and the energy flowing through a much subtler place than where the meridians are. It starts there, but then it becomes this less focused, more etheric thing, and you feel it flowing through you, and it runs you, and you run it. Shakti also can be at many levels. Prana is within the body, the energy within the body, flowing through the astral and physical body. Shakti itself is the source. It's where it comes from. Everything comes from somewhere. That's a really important thing to think about. Everything has a history. Everything has a source. You can work with the manifestation, but it's fun and important to work your way back to the source. And the higher you go back to the source, the more beautiful it is. So Shakti, in the purest sense, is spirit, pure spirit. What Christ meant by spirit, I was in the spirit on the Lord's day. It's just this tremendous flow of non-physical and really non-astral higher energy that totally permeates and takes over your entire being. The flow of Shakti at a very high level is flowing so beautifully. The Bible calls it the rush of holy waters. That's talking about the same thing the yogis deal with. It is so beautiful, the flow is so intoxicating that it pulls your consciousness into it. And that's how you are in the spirit on the Lord's day, is it pulls you back into it. They're all the same. The teachings of Christ, the teachings, the deep teachings, the mystical teachings of the Bible, the Quran, the yogic scriptures, Patanjali, Yoga Sutras, and the Kabbalah and the Jewish tradition, it's about spirit. Yes, there's a letter of the law, and yes, there are yamas and niyamas, and yes, there are rights and wrongs and sins. What's that all about? Let's get that out of the way. If you are not feeling the flow of spirit, you are not whole. You may think you are, but you're not whole. There may be pieces of you that are higher than others in the sense that you have a relationship that's working out beautifully. You feel love. That's beautiful. You have a job that really inspires you. You feel inspiration. But then when you come home, you don't have the love. Or when you deal with the kids, you get upset. Or if you're working on a project in your job and somebody else takes it from you, you get all upset. That's not in the spirit. That's conditional. It's just a condition in which circumstances are such that the energy is able to flow. When I use energy, I'm talking about Shakti, spirit, Chi, all the same stuff. So conditions can happen with certain parts of your being. You're a very complex being, you understand, that energy can open up, that you can feel a flow of energy. It doesn't have to be a relationship, a person-to-person relationship. You can love your car. You can just artwork. If you stand in front of a piece of art that blows you away and you could just stand there for an hour and say it's one of the highest experiences I ever had, you're there. And it doesn't matter what the art is. It can be pop art, it can be impressionist art, it can be Renoir. It's just basically things open you. Certain things open you. Don't you use that word. It opened me. And when you feel open, what do you feel? You feel a flow of energy. You feel an uplifting beauty comes up inside of you. That is spirit. It doesn't matter what causes it to flow. It's the same stuff. So basically, I can't say to you the things outside don't give you energy. There's a combination of things that happen. Everybody is a being of energy. They are emanating energy. When somebody is open and they come in your presence and you're open to them, you feel inspired, you feel loved, you feel uplifted. If somebody is down, they're not emanating their energy. Why do you not emanate your energy? Because you close the door. Why is there not light coming in the room? Because you put the blinds down. There are blinds in here. You can close, can't you? Ever feel closed? I don't care whether you've ever gotten into spirituality or yoga or anything. Your everyday language reveals that you know what I'm talking about. I feel closed. Anyone can say that. That person really closed me. In this situation, I don't want to be here. I feel closed. What does it mean? You feel closed. Your heart is closed. Your mind is upset and closed. You get spacey. You're closed. Closed means that there's an apparatus inside of you that is capable of blocking the energy flow. What are you closed to? You're closed to the flow of the energy. You think you're closed to the outside, but what you did was to protect yourself from what you're experiencing outside. You have this ability to close. So how does it feel to be closed? Terrible. You feel like a wet dish rag. You just feel tired and you're closed and it just doesn't work well. How do you feel when you're open? You feel expansive. You feel love. You feel excited. I can't wait. I'm so open. You use those words every day, closed and open. If you will trace that back, that's all I ever did in my life. I traced those back. You decide, I don't want to close. Okay, it would be nice talk. Okay? It's like a drug addict saying, I want to give up drugs. Okay, it's just not going to be as easy as you think. I don't want to close. Then watch. If you don't want to close, the starting position is this. Do you like being closed? Is it fun being closed? No. Do you like being open? Is it fun being open? There we have some solid ground. Do you know there's not a single person in the world that I could ask that question to that would not have answered the way you did? I don't care where they live. I don't care what they're doing. Now, what opens them and what closes them, that's a different story. We'll go very slow now. This is a spiritual path. So you start with a foundation. I will always agree. When I'm closed, I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. It's not fun. And when I'm open, whee, it's fun. Okay. So now, why don't you watch? If you like being open so much and you don't like being closed, why don't you watch why you close? Like a scientist. Yogananda once said that when you meditate, you're entering the laboratory of soul research. You have the right to research. So I notice that sometimes I close. Instead of getting all involved in it and not liking it, take a step back. It's witness consciousness. Take a step back and see, wait, I was open, at least relatively. Now I'm closed. What happened? You won't do that. You're too busy being closed. No, I can't see clearly when I'm closed. Yes, you can. You just get all involved in it. So take a moment. The way to do it is when you start to close. Can you feel yourself start to close? Answer me. See? It's not like, bam, the door slammed. You feel yourself start to close. There's a little rumble going on down there. Usually in the lower belly, it starts down there, and it comes up and takes over, and it gets dark. All right? Okay. If you're sincere with this, and again, I'm not telling you to do something spiritual. I'm telling you what you want. You want to feel high. You want to feel open. You want to feel beautiful energy. Well, you don't feel that when you're closed. We all agree. We've got solid ground. Then why don't you watch and see why you close instead of just closing? So when you're going to watch, when you see, is that either a thought, can a thought close you? You don't even need help. You're very good at it. How long have you been good at it? Were you able to close when you were little? It's just so neat to talk. Can we talk about this? All right? This is the door to spirituality. This is the door to all of life. So what happens is you start to see, I'm starting to close. I would like you to look and see why. Maybe a thought. Maybe somebody said something. Maybe somebody didn't say something. Something happened, either inside or outside, and you got this weird vibration, and you started to close down. The problem is, the minute you start to close, You try to blame it on something. You want to know why you blame it on something? Because you want to know how not to close. So if you said something that closed me, I don't want to be around you. I want to make you say you're sorry. I want to, something. In other words, I don't want to close, and you made me close. So therefore, you are the solution to my closing. Either I avoid you, I don't like you, I talk badly about you. I mean, literally, if you start to close around somebody and you call your friend up, you should see what she did. Oh, can you? And the friend says, I know she did it to me too. You start to open. Be a scientist. Dare to look. You do it every day of your life. All of these clues are all around you. What happened? You took something as bad energy. Closing is an act of protecting yourself. I don't want it. Push it away from me. I'm scared. Close. If you can take some of that bad energy and share it with somebody else, right? And normally you walk away and say, thank you for sharing. I feel so much better. And if they were honest, they say, I don't. Just pass it on to me. Thanks a lot. Another person you talk to doesn't like the person who made you close. You're just passing it on. So basically, instead of trying to figure out how the world needs to be, I'll do it big now. Instead of trying to figure out how the world needs to be so it doesn't close you, you can do that, That's what you do with your mind. You figure out everything. Why don't you just come down and do a spiritual practice? Watch why you closed. Just watch. Yes, it's starting to close. Why? Because he said something. Because he didn't open the door for me. Because I don't like this restaurant. Because the meal size is too small. The meal size is too big. It's not warm enough. Right? It's not the right color exactly. It was greener last time. The smell, I don't know, right? That the tables are too close to each other in this restaurant. That person's talking too loud over there. What? The music. I didn't expect they would play music like this. It's a Chinese restaurant. Why is Frank Sinatra singing? I don't understand. All right? And you close. Isn't that cute? You're something else altogether. I thought you liked being open. It doesn't take much to close you if you really like being open. You look at it. And I'm going to jump and skip a big jump. I go into this very deeply in the new book, Living Untethered, is you're going to see something. If you look, you're going to see that you have triggers inside of you. Notice what I said, inside of you, not inside the restaurant, not inside the weather, not inside the car in front of you, not inside the person that just said something to you. The triggers are inside of you. And when those soft spots or triggers get hit or stimulated, you close. Did I lose anybody yet? Is it true or not? Okay. And is it true that if I'm standing right next to you and something hits your trigger and closes you, it could open me? The same exact thing. So therefore, it's not the thing itself that inherently closes. It's the thing hits the trigger inside of you and you close. Is it true that if the exact same thing happened yesterday, you wouldn't have closed, but today you close with the exact same thing for the exact same person? You're becoming a scientist. I really like this. You're willing to look for yourself. Why did that happen? Yesterday it wouldn't have closed you. Today it closed you. So you take a look. What happened to me between yesterday and today that this trigger got hit and it wouldn't have got hit yesterday? Could be a million things, but something happened. It's not random. So that basically you saw a movie. It made you sensitive to a subject. You read a book. You went to school and had a lecture 1 hour ago. You wouldn't have closed before you heard the lecture, but now you close after you hear the lecture. If you want to learn how not to close, you better take a look at what's going on. And so now what we've said is there are triggers in there that when either your thought hits them or somebody says something outside hits them, it comes in, it hits it, and then bam, the shutters go down. That trigger wasn't there yesterday. That trigger might have been there 5 minutes ago. Watch this. There's this person you don't know. They walk up and talk to another person. What does that do to you? Nothing. I know neither person. I never met them. I know nothing about them. One person walks up, talks to the other person. Nothing happens, okay? 5 minutes ago, the first person walked up to me and said, "You are the most special person. I've watched you since kindergarten. I worship the ground you walk on. I've just been ashamed and just too scared and embarrassed to tell you. I just love you with all my heart. You're my soulmate." Okay. Then they said, "I'll call you later." right? And then they walk away, and they walk up to another person, and your mind says the same thing. Instead of, all you hear is, "Oh, you're so special. How you doing? How you doing? I don't know. How you doing?" In other words, so a trigger got built inside of you in 2 minutes. This is what goes on all day, all the time, your entire life. And basically, you catch on that what's happening is I am developing triggers inside of myself that if the world behaves subsequent to that in certain ways, it can open me or it can close me. Because the world itself is just the planet spinning in the middle of nowhere. You've heard me say that before. I think you've ever been here before, right? There's just this tiny little planet. How many Earths fit inside the sun? 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. And you're worried about what the person just said or who they're talking to. And so you catch on that it's just a planet spinning in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't open or close you. It just is here for 4.5 billion years. And if that's not meaningless enough, that it's just a planet that 1.3 million fit inside the sun is one star, of which there are 300 billion in your galaxy. What are you worrying about? What are you closing about? What's so important that it's worth closing? But I didn't stop yet. That's your galaxy. There are 300 billion suns. There are 2 trillion galaxies. And what in the world are you doing with your time on this little planet? Closing, opening, closing, building triggers, freaking out, do all kinds of stuff. Okay? All right. So now we'll come on back down. So basically you see how easy it is to build a trigger. And I'm telling you, you've been doing it your entire life. Are there things in there that happened to you when you were 6 years old that now that you're 56 can still trigger you? If you want to know whether you build these triggers, go to a high school reunion. Just seeing the person, bam, he's the one who took my girlfriend 52 years ago. Now you understand closing. You now understand all there is to know about closing. You're closing. That didn't close you. It hit a trigger inside of you, and you closed because of that. Where did the triggers come from? You did it. Things happened in your past. They came in, and either you really liked them, or you really didn't like them, or they were neutral. What percent of the things that come in through your senses throughout your life are so neutral, so meaningless to you, that you're totally be here now? They just come right through and pass right through. What percent? 99.99999. All the trees you ever saw, all the white lines in the road you ever saw, all the clouds in the sky, every single thing comes in, goes right through. And you're right present in the next moment. It doesn't take you out of the moment. Let's be here now. You're just present in the moment. These things happen. People go by. You're still present. How hard was that? Did you meditate a lot to get to that state? No. Everybody's in that state. Well, then what in the world is the 0.0001% that got stuck in there? It either was something you really didn't like when it came in, or something you really, really did like when it came in. Why? Because when something you really, really don't like comes in, you don't want to experience it. It's not a nice experience, at least to you. It doesn't feel right. There are primal experiences that don't feel good. I use the example in the book. A rattlesnake coiled 10 feet in front of you. They say 10 feet is fairly safe. 10 feet in front of you, coiled up, rattling, is not a nice experience. I've seen one. I'm telling you. That's one angry sucker, right? And that is not a nice experience, period. So it comes in, that's I call that a primal experience. You didn't do it, it just is not a nice experience. Okay, dark clouds and thunder and lightning coming down, 100-mile-an-hour wind. That's not a nice experience, okay? But that doesn't happen every day to you, does it? Either one of those. I didn't think so. That's the 0.0001% things. They come in, we'll call them primal, not nice experiences. The vibes that they are, when they come in, are not comfortable at all. So they come in, what do you do with them? This is so important. I don't want to experience that. I don't like it. I don't want to experience that. So what do? It happened. Please listen once. You can't not have happened what already happened. I'll tell you that right now, unless you have a time machine. If it happened, it happened. But when it comes in, you can mess around with it, can't you? There's all Freud stuff. You can practice denial. You can suppress it. You can do any kind of stuff in there. You free reign in it. So you play with it in there. It comes in. You don't like it. Let's just take Freud. You push it away. I always ask you, do you have hands in there that can manipulate and control and push away or grab onto things that are in there? Don't you have hands? Can you do stuff in there? Yeah, a little innocent little thing in there. You're doing stuff in there. Can you push away an experience that you don't want to have? That's called repression, suppression, resistance, call it whatever you want. You do it all the time. You just built a trigger. If you push that away, like I said, it doesn't trigger you when you see a white line. It doesn't trigger you when you drive by the trees. It doesn't trigger you when you see clouds go by. But if it came in and it wasn't comfortable to you, and you didn't want to have that experience, which unfortunately you already had, that's why it's silly. Hello, if it's in there, you had it. Tag, you're it. You're not going to not have had it, but you play with it in there, don't you? There's a reason, because you're way back in here. Who's you? Consciousness, awareness, that which is actually experiencing. Your eye is not experiencing. It's a sensor that sends back the experience, and you experience it. There's only one experiencer in there, you, and you're way back in there. So when it comes in, the closer it comes to you, the more you feel the experience. It's closer. So you push it away. I don't want this coming in. I don't want to have that experience. And when you push it away, it stays. It's that simple. It stays in the form of, we call it a samskara or a trigger. It means all the energy you didn't like about it, everything, the reason you pushed it away is still there inside of you. For how long? Go ask Freud. Go ask psychology. We know that your childhood didn't leave any of those, did it? It stays in there your whole life. It determines your personality. It determines what you like and what you don't like. It determines who you're attracted to and who you're repulsed by. You just have all this stuff that you built inside. It's called your psyche. Yoga, I call it your psyche, right? The combination of your emotional and mental stuff that you stored inside. Then you build this whole thing based on that. You build your likes and dislikes based on, I want to avoid the things that have closed me in the past, and I want to have more of the things that open me in the past. People often ask me, well, why do you say both bad and good experiences? If it is an experience you don't enjoy, you push it away, therefore it stores that samskara, that impression, that trigger inside, and then the events of the life will hit it, and it'll come back up. Yes or no? Okay? Oh my God, it's so simple, it's ridiculous, all right? Well, what happens with the good experiences? And by the way, somebody wants to ask me, I'm doing okay with the bad experiences. I'm starting to let them go. But I have more trouble when I remember a good experience. It makes me feel good. Fine. I don't like to talk about positive and negative samskaras, but I have to because I'm teaching you, all right? But it's fine. Just let go of the negative ones. The rest will take care of themselves. But why would a good experience cause a problem? If it's good enough to where it's superseded past experience you've had, you met somebody or you got a thing or some event happened, it was just, wow, you do what's called cling to it. You don't let it go through, just like you didn't let the bad one go through. But you don't let the bad one go through because you don't want to experience it. You don't let this one go through because you want to experience it. You want to hold on to it. What did he say? Oh, my God. What do you say when somebody says something really beautiful to you? I love you. I love you more than I've ever loved anybody in my whole life. Excuse me, what did you say? I didn't hear you. You want to have the experience again. So you hold on to it in there. And you look forward to it. I'll call you. I love you so much. Wait, I'll call you this afternoon. Oh, my God. You're not letting that go. You can't go back to work. You can't think straight. You're just waiting for that call to happen. You clung to it. So neither way does the reality of the experience pass through all the way back to the depth of your experience. One, you push away so that it doesn't have to feel it. The other, you cling to so that you can hold on to it. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it, but only because I'm supposed to. I will explain the following to you. If you do that, that's called a positive samskara. If you do that for the rest of your life, you will compare every other experience to that. You will cease to be able to have primal experiences. The example I like is very clear. You go to a restaurant, it's unbelievable. It's perfect. I mean, it was just perfect. Everything about it was perfect. The meal was perfect. It was this, was that. They had just the right food. Whatever it was perfect. And you go tell your friends, hey, man, you got to come with me. You got to come with me. It's unbelievable. Well, I can't go to next week. Okay, we'll go. And you go to the restaurant. Don't take your friend to that restaurant. You're out of your mind. They won't have the same special. There will be different people there. The music will be different. Everything will be different. And you will compare it to what happened before. You will compare against what you held on to, that you said, this is a beautiful experience, I want to have it again. You're not having it again. And by the way, I was a safe example, this restaurant example. You wait till you start dealing with your relationships. Okay? Well, I don't know. Last time you kissed me, I felt much more. Yeah, because it was the first time I ever kissed you. And you were surprised, and it was an open experience. And now you're going to compare everything against this stupid thing, all right? You will judge. You will compare because you held on to this thing. So it's not that it's bad. It just ruins the rest of your life. That's all. So basically, you come down and you realize your triggers are built because of the stuff you didn't let go of. And to whatever degree the experience was negative the first time, that's how strong the trigger is. What does the word traumatic mean? The experience was so unacceptable. It was so unacceptable. It completely freaked me out. I will never be the same. Everything's triggering me. It all reminds me of it. If I hear a noise, it's that noise. Everything is that way. Can it be like that? Okay, all right. Would you like to live like that? Okay, well, can we have a talk? Because believe it or not, you do not have to, no matter what experience takes place. I'm going to get spiritual. I'm going to tie these together. No matter what experience takes place in your life, if you learn to let it go, it will be gone. Now, that's a big order. Okay, that's like the drug addict saying, all right, I've decided to stop drugs. Okay, well, we'll see. Let's see how well you do, how quickly. All right? There's some work to do. So it's the same thing here. You are storing those triggers. They do not happen by themselves. And don't let psychology or anybody else tell you otherwise. Yogis know much more than psychologists. Why? They got out. Okay? Until you get out, you can't really see what's going on. You see it from within it. So basically, there is nothing stuck inside of you that you did not keep in there. In fact, not only did you keep it in there when it happened, you keep it in there now. When it tries to come back up, what do? You push it back down. It is your will, it is those inner hands of will in there that are keeping this stuff inside. And then if they're inside, the outside world hits them. Use free association. All kinds of stuff hit that kind of stuff. It's amazing how extrapolated it is. All right? You dated a redhead when you were in high school, and this was the dream of your life. And then they moved away. I'm telling you, you have an affinity toward redheads because it left that impression in you. You stored that, and you think that's natural. Well, I just like redheads. I just don't like blondes. They're stuck up. No, I assure you, not all blondes are stuck up. You're doing this. It's how you built your personality. It's how you built your ego. It's how you built your likes and dislikes and your dreams and your hopes. They're all built on top of that stuff. You don't have dreams and hopes about the fact that you drove past the white lines unless they didn't make it through. It's stuff you hold on to. You then build a world around that. The world you build around it is what I want to happen because it hits this stuff properly, but I don't want to happen because it hit that stuff before. All right, I'm going to make a statement. You resisted that stuff to start with, either resistance or clung, and you are keeping it in there. There is no super glue in there. I mean, maybe nobody tells you this. There's nothing in there except your will. You have a power in there, don't you? You can make things happen. That power of will has the ability to suppress. You have an inner power, and you can use that power to stop inner experiences from passing through. And when you do, they are stuck in there, and then they get hit by all kinds of stuff. Total free association. Do any of you ever worry? What do you worry about? You worry that what you want to happen won't happen. What you don't want to happen will happen. I guarantee you, check it out. There's not another thing you ever worry about. What else would you worry about? That I want to happen will happen? No. You worry that what I want to happen won't happen, and what I don't want to happen, that's what you really worry about. What I don't want to happen will happen. Well, how did you decide what you don't want to happen? Because of all these past experiences that I stored inside. I'm not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. I've had all these experiences. And so I stored the ones that were bad, and I now have a list, an anti-bucket list. It's a non-bucket list. Basically, I have this list of what I don't want to happen. Well, maybe it'll happen. So I worry about it. I worry that it'll happen. What in the world? How can you live your life? You can't live your life. You can't enjoy your life because you built all this stuff, and now you worry it'll happen or it won't happen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, can I do something about that? Let's tie it again back to this whole talk of spirituality we talked about. You are a being of energy. You're a being of energy that is so high that you can hardly bear living within yourself. There is so much energy inside of you that it blows you away. It's just intoxicating all the time. It's constantly flowing upward. You say, how can it do that by itself? Your heart beats by itself. Your lungs go in and out by themselves. The immune system takes care of itself. Your digestive system takes care of itself. All kinds of things happen by themselves. You have this energy inside of you. It is your natural state. It will flow up if you let it. It will flow up inside and feed you. That's what Christ meant when he said, man does not live by bread alone, meaning outer experiences, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of God. That's the word. They use that in the Bible. The word means the Spirit. And so basically, you have flowing inside of you enough energy to where you are completely self-effulgent. You're filled with love all the time. You're filled with inspiration. I get to do the dishes? Oh, boy. Can I sweep the floor again? But you did it last. No, I want to do it again. Every single thing. Every single thing inspires you at a level that you can't wait to do it. And you have so much love inside of you that if you want to feel love, wave your hand in front of your heart. All this love comes pouring up inside of you. That's what's inside of you. They won't tell you that. You think you have to go earn that. You have to earn that your heart will beat. Really bad people, their heart beats. It's not a question of good and bad and karma and all this kind of junk. You're a great being. You're a being of tremendous light and tremendous love, and it is always pouring inside of you. Excuse me, sir, why don't I feel it? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Because you're busy feeling the stuff you stored in there, the stuff you held on to. You're busy paying attention to your worries, your needs, your desires, your hopes, your dreams, your concepts, your views, your likes, your dislikes, how to get what I like, how to keep away from what I don't like. You have completely taken your consciousness, which is capable of experiencing this awesome flow of spirit or Shakti, call it whatever you want, and you're busy looking at the rest of this stuff. If something really beautiful is going on back here, but you're looking over there, you don't see it. It is the exact same thing inside. It's not what do I need to do to get that much energy flowing? That energy is flowing. What do I need to do to stop looking at the junk so that I can see the beauty? Well, that's a different question. Your whole consciousness is paying attention to the lowest part of your being. You talk to somebody, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh my God, what are they going to think of me? I wonder if they took it that way. I don't know. Should I call them? No, don't make anything out of it. It's just, there's all this junk. Why is that junk in there? Because you stored it in there. That's one of the things I stress in the new book. If you're going to take every bad experience that disturbed you throughout your life and store it inside of you, you are going to be disturbed. Do you have disturbances stored from yesterday, 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Then what do you expect is going on in there? It's disturbed. And now what you do instead of dealing with it, you say, but when I'm with him, I don't feel as disturbed. You want to know why? Because he distracts you from your disturbances. He didn't fix them. It was new, and he or she is exciting and beautiful, and they said they love me, and this is just, oh, I got the new car. It doesn't have to be a relationship. I just say this new car, man, it's turning me on. Everybody looks when I drive it. And we'll see how long that lasts. In other words, it distracts you from yourself. What do you think vacations are? Distractions from myself. What do you think your dreams are? Dreams are as follows. I'm not okay, but if this happened, I'd be okay. Those are my dreams. Those are my hopes and dreams. I want you to be okay now. How you like that? I want you to feel so much energy pouring up inside of you, intoxicating you, that all you can do is in the moment in front of you express the love, express the inspiration, express the creativity and beauty. There are no dreams. There's just fulfillment all the time, complete fulfillment. That's where the great ones live. You understand that? And that's who you are. But the problem is your consciousness, your awareness of being, which is who you are, is very busy being addicted to your personal self. You're addicted to all these problems that you've built inside. And now you think you have to solve them by getting things to be a certain way outside. So now you're addicted to that. A drug addict has to get their fix. You have to get this and get that and get that in exactly the way you want. And so you spend your entire life trying to compensate, asking people and world around you to compensate for this stuff you stored inside. Make me feel better. I don't know, I married you, I committed myself to you, and I'm not feeling love, and do something. You're not feeling love because you're blocked. This whole thing ties together. That's why you're not feeling love. Love is that upward flow of energy. And yes, if somebody new shows up, that's why people fall in love with the tennis pro and the golf pro. Because it's something new. It distracts you. I've been married 20 years, and I really love and I have family and stuff, but boy, I don't know, when I get around this golf pro, it's just like, wow, something happens. I haven't felt that for years. Of course you haven't, because you're busy stuck in yourself. And then you go ask somebody, like, what's her name, Ann Landers or somebody. You write somebody, what should I do? I fell in love. And it's if you're going to stay caught in this game of storing what you don't like and clinging and building all these concepts and views and opinions and preferences and building a personal self, and then having your consciousness completely addicted to that, and then think things outside have to change for me to be okay? No, things inside have to change for you to be okay. That's the answer. So basically, what do? If I've communicated, there you are. Spirituality is about spirit. It's not about any right thing or wrong thing or this or that. Not even about meditation. There are techniques that can help you work with your problem, just like there are techniques that can help a drug addict get off of drugs. But if it's all said and done, they have to get off those drugs and not go back on. It's the same thing with you. When it's said and done, there's no magic. You can try and take a pill or do something, but there's no magic. It's you deciding, I have stored this stuff inside of me. It is running my life, and I don't want to feel this beauty that's inside of me instead of having to serve this mess that's inside of me. How do you do that? Well, there are techniques. And so, what I teach, meditation is wonderful. And all the gurus and my guru and everybody taught absolute meditation, and it's very important. You know how many meditation teachers are? About as many white lines as there are on the road, okay? Why do you need another one? People ask me, why don't you teach meditation? You find a meditation that works for you. You don't need me. But I want to talk to you about why you would meditate. And I also want to talk to you about why after you meditate, because many of you meditate, why after you meditate and get really high and really nice, it can really work, why do you come back down? I thought you liked it. Why, the minute you stop meditating, does all this junk start coming back immediately, and then you're back down, and I gotta go meditate. I want to know why you have to meditate. Don't get me wrong, you should meditate. Meditate's good. It's good, right? Why do you have to meditate? Because you have all this garbage inside of you, so that you can't feel the natural flow of your energy. So that by quieting down and stopping the senses and going inside and taking some time away from yourself, hopefully, what happens when you manage to, at least for a short period of time, transcend the personal self? Where you find, I went so deep. It was so beautiful. The mind actually stopped. What happens when the mind stops? What happens when you go deep? It's beautiful because you're pulling back to the energy. Your consciousness isn't paying attention to the garbage. And so because you can get past that, you start to feel this tremendous joy. That's always there. It's there driving the kid to soccer. It's there discussing financial problems. It's there dealing with every single thing you deal with every single day of your life. It never goes away. You go away. You go away from it. It doesn't go away. That's why if you meditate, you can get back there. Good. I want you there all the time. I like you. I'm very greedy. All right? And so the question is, why am I not there? I told you why you're not there. Because you stored all this stuff inside of you. Is that stuff distracting? If you think about some sensitive situation that's happened to you, if you think about it, you go right back in that space. because you had all that junk stored inside of you. It wasn't a natural experience that you were able to let go of. So there's all kinds of experience you've done that about. That's why you come back down, because these things are like magnets that pull you down into them, and all of a sudden you got your problems waiting for you when you do anything. And it's not just meditation. Go and have a beautiful love experience or something, and then go to work and tell me whether you keep your experience. No. Somebody says something, and all of a sudden you're right back into your garbage, and you had a hard day. Darling, I had a hard day. Okay? Well, I don't mind how the day unfolds. I mind how you take it. That's where spirituality is. And so now we're down to, really, this is solid spirituality. The only reason you're not feeling that tremendous rush of spirit flowing up inside of you, pouring out your higher chakras, and I don't care whether you know what a chakra is or not, you don't have to know a thing about it. If you get back there, it's happening. That's all. It's flowing up. Why am I not feeling that? Because you are distracted by this stuff that you're more interested in, the garbage. It distracts you all the time. It keeps pulling your consciousness into it. Well, someday you're going to wake up and say, I think I have but one life to live, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to live it that way. I don't want to have all this garbage inside of me so that I have to find people, places, things, situations, blah, 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 blah. Every little thing has to be the way it fits my garbage so it doesn't trigger me, or fits my positive garbage, positive clung to things so that they match just right, and I feel all this inspiration, all this stuff. And now I'm busy trying to make that happen. Pretty busy trying to find the right person, find the right thing, make the right house, make it the right color, do it the right thing, all these kind of stuff so that I can be turned on. I like that, and you can do that. Have fun with that. And you can. You're going to live your life. I'm not telling you to go live in a mountain somewhere. You're going to live your life. The question is, are you addicted to your life? Is it the only way you're okay is if everything's the way that you want? As opposed to, I'm okay. I'm more than okay. I'm filled with love. Now let's go decorate the house. Now let's go get married. Now let's go do this. Now let's go do that. Now let's go do our job the best of our ability. Whatever it is, there's nothing that's not spiritual. There's nothing that's not spiritual. You're seeing a planet spinning in the middle of nowhere. And by the way, if I say there's nothing that's spiritual, you say, what about terrible things? If you were filled with love and bliss, why would you do terrible things? You're filled with love. The reason you do terrible things is because you're not okay. Well, it's not natural for a human being to bother another human being. It's not. It's because they're not okay and you're in their way. You have something they want to make themselves feel better, and therefore you get abused. Therefore bad things happen. It's not natural. Every single human being, everyone, has this beauty flowing inside of them. They would not have taken a human birth if they weren't ready for that. That's what's pouring inside. But they're not paying attention to that, are they? They're paying attention to the junk that's stored inside of them, and then trying to figure out how I can get the world so that when it comes in, it hits the good stuff and not the bad stuff. And that's why all these people, all these dictators, Hitler, everybody, they're all doing that stuff. Okay, so what's the answer for you? The answer is, I don't want this stuff in here. I would rather have my consciousness pay attention to the most beautiful part of my being instead of paying attention to the lowest part of my being, the stuff that I stored in there that I wasn't able to handle. Okay, so now you got the foundation. You did it. Don't feel guilty. You should feel empowered. If I say you did it, you shouldn't say, oh, he's yelling at me. No, I'm not yelling at you. I'm telling you, if you did it, you can undo it. Anyone else in there? Your children in there? Your husband in there? Your father in there? Your mother in there? Nobody's in there. Just you. Okay? Therefore, it can be any way. Listen to me. It can be any way you want. You're all busy saying, I can make the world be any way I want. I can manifestation. Yoga doesn't talk like that. Yoga says, in there, you know what? In there, if you're filled with bliss, there is no way you want it to be. You're just shedding light, just being who you are. You're not busy manifesting and attracting things. What things? It's all beautiful the way it is. But inside, you can make the inside any way you want. I don't care what you ever did. I don't care what you ever did. Just get that karma stuff out of your mind. It's not a punishment. It's not. It is because you stored this stuff inside that it is still causing you to attract and interact with the stuff. The inside projects the outside. They say, even in the great yoga traditions where they teach karma, they say at the moment of enlightenment, the moment of freedom, all karmic seeds are burned. Period. They're gone. All right? That should be encouraging to you. So it doesn't matter what you've ever done or whatever happened to you. And the question is, are you storing it inside of you? And the answer is, if you don't, it will go. So now let's do it real quickly. Fine. So now we understand what spirit is. There's that flow of energy going on inside of you that flows up so strong that it pulls you into it and ultimately takes you away from yourself, and you go into these beautiful, beautiful places called God. All right? Yoga, they have a name for God. Sat Chit Ananda. Sat Chit Ananda. Eternal conscious ecstasy. I like that God. Eternal conscious ecstasy. They also have a name for the self, for your individual self. What is that? Satchitananda. Same name. Why? It's the same thing. That energy is the same energy. That's what the oneness is all about. Okay, there. So that's what's going on, and that's what the spiritual journey is about. Why don't I experience it? Because you're paying attention to the stuff you stored in there. So why am I paying attention to it? Because it is distracting you at a very strong level. Why? If you store everything that ever bothered you inside, it's going to be the stuff that bothers you, and it's going to distract you. If I took your stuff, whatever it is, none of my business, and I put it inside of me, I would not be distracted by it. I said, really? You having trouble with that? You understand that? Because I didn't go through the experience. It isn't something that I'm suppressing, and I never suppressed it, never had trouble with it. Like I talk about the white lines in the road. There are people who paint those white lines. And there's somebody who got fired. You know how they dribble sometimes? You ever seen them? They dribble like that. And he got fired for dribbling too many times. So now you drive by these lines. They don't do anything to you. But inside of him, every time he sees a dribble line, it brings back up getting fired and all this stuff. So basically, you stored this stuff in here. And that's why you can't pay attention to the higher energy, because you're drawn, distracted constantly by the low energy. That's why when you come out of meditation, which is most beautiful, you go right back down. That's why you have a beautiful, see someone you love, oh my God, it's a beautiful friendship. You leave, it goes away very quickly. I mean, when you go to work, when you do this, you meet somebody else, you get all disturbed again. So that's why. So now what do you do about it? It's very simple, and I go into good detail in the new book, Living Untethered. Don't start with saying, okay, I'm inspired. I like that you're inspired. I'm going to get rid of this stuff. No, you're not. No, kid yourself, all right? The minute that comes back up, what mommy did, what daddy did, what your high school thing, right? You, boom. It's strong. Is it strong? That's so strong. It pulls your conscious into it. So you don't start with that. You start with what I call low-hanging fruit. Every day of your life, you're putting more in there. It rained. God, I had to get out of the car. You have no idea what it was like. I had to get out of the car and I had these important papers. It didn't rain when I left. If I'd known it would rain, I wouldn't have gone. What are you doing? You can't handle the rain? Of course not. What do you mean, of course not? That one you can play with. Play with the simple ones. But I define the low-hanging fruit as that which has a 100% cost and a 0% benefit to get yourself uptight about it. So practice. Just like you practice tennis, you practice calculus, you practice the piano, you practice sports, you practice instruments, you practice all kinds of things, don't you? Practice not storing more of these things. Practice not building more samskaras. Can you get that way about the rain if you have to deliver something? Sure. Can you complain about it all day and have it ruin your day? Sure. Next time you need to deliver something, will it come back up? I'm not delivering today, I'm at rain. You build a trigger. Just like that. These things matter. So you practice not doing that. That is your spiritual practice. That's a major spiritual practice. Driver in front of you not driving the way you want. I tell you, just get real uptight about that driver in front of you, how they're driving 20 miles an hour with the speed limit, they don't use the blinker, they're always stepping on their brakes. You go visit a different city. Next time you see a car that looks like that, it's all coming right back up. I don't want to get behind that guy. I know they drive these things. Nope, not a Ford or whatever it is. Am I telling the truth? But then what did you just do? You just built another one of these triggers. Don't work with the big stuff. Practice not putting more in. And you will have developed this ability to work with yourself. And the next thing that's going to happen, if you'll do this with a lot of things, one's going to come back up that was disturbing from before, and you use the same will that you built and the ability to relax and release these little things, and you'll find out it doesn't bother you anymore. You can let this one go. You'll see a friend, not so much a friend, that had bothered you a while ago, and all of a sudden you'll start to feel the bother come back up, and it'll be just like the driver in front of you. I mean, the feeling, the amount of energy, all right? And you'll be able to let it go. So you start with the simple stuff that everybody thinks it doesn't. You're saying, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I complain about this. You want to bet? Just go complain about it and see whether 2 days later think about it, whether it still bothers you. So you practice cleansing. It's called cleansing. And you're releasing. And then at some point, you do this, you release enough, and I'm telling you, you're going to be happier. You don't know why. You just say, I just feel happier. People write me all the time from all over the world, and they write. And they sit there and say, since I read that, since I started practicing that stuff, I'm just happier. I'm a happier person. Why? Because you stopped storing stuff inside of you. And then you started letting go of the stuff you had stored inside of you. You're going to feel energy, I'm telling you. It's going to come up. You feel energy. And then something bigger is going to come up. And don't come to me and say, I was doing really well, now I'm not. No. You were doing really well, now you're really doing well. Because something bigger came up. And all of a sudden you're not feeling the energy. It's getting darker inside, and it hurts. It's disturbing. Good. I'm sorry. That's wonderful. You don't want that stuff in there, do you? And so you say, well, it's worth letting go. And you just keep relax and release. Just keep your inner hands, keep them to yourself. And if you dare to let this stuff go, don't start with the big stuff, I told you. Just start with the little stuff. You'll build power inside. You'll build the strength to let go. And as you let go, the more you let go, the higher you're going to get. And the bigger ones will come up, let those go. Then you'll really get high. You'll really get high. Then you get to a certain point where you start feeling this flow going upward. And you can write me. People do. I felt this tremendous energy shoot up inside of me. Then what? Then don't go back down. All right. We took a journey. I started with closing and not closing. This is how you not close. How? You learn to not close. You say, it's not worth it. Once you see the cost of closing, look at the cost. Everything you close over builds another one of those soft spots. Let go. Don't do it. Let go. Please work on these things. You make the world a better place. Imagine how much nicer you'll be to people that you meet. You spread love. You spread light. You don't have to go out there and change the world, and become a world leader to change the world. You change the world you live in, and they change the world they live in, and that's how it happens.